Good evening to everyone that's joining us live on Sports Today as we build up for that first test match to be played in the two test match series between India and Sri Lanka. That game, as you know, is going to be played in Mohali. Also happens to be Virat Kohli's 100th test match. We spoke at length yesterday with Mr. Gavaskar, who joins me live, about Virat Kohli, about that 100th test match. And all of you had sent me so many questions about India's playing 11 and what the conditions are going to be like. So that's something that we will focus on. Do send in your questions. I'll try to pose a few of them to Mr. Gavaskar. But before that, Sai, have you had a chance to go onto the stadium and probably have a look at how the pitch is looking? And if you did, what were your first initial impressions?
Yes, I had gone to the ground in the morning, Nikhil, but the pitch was covered. I'd gone around lunchtime, and the pitch was covered. So I'm not sure what it will look like. But the adjoining pitches looked like they had a fair bit of grass. So maybe there might be a bit of grass because I think the important thing, like most associations look for, and the broadcasters hope for, is that it goes 5 days. Matches generally finish in 4 days, 4.5 days sometimes. So I think sometimes pitches are prepared in such a way that, and I think for this game at least, the pitch will be a very good pitch, which should last 5 days. Whether the
Okay,
match will last 5 days
that
is another matter.
that was going to be my follow-up question. No matter what the pitch is, and no disrespect to the Sri Lankan team. In fact, I'm a big fan. I'm wearing a Sri Lankan cardigan right now, the Sri Lankan cricket cardigan. So no disrespect to the Sri Lankan team. I absolutely love them. But looking at the way that the team is, a bit of inexperience there, haven't had a great outing leading into this series. What do you reckon? Rohit was asked this question. He said that, I mean, we got to do whatever we have to. Can't really take any opposition lightly. But honestly, do you think it's going to be a close contest, or even now, as we saw in the T20I, it's a one-sided series even before the first ball is bowled?
I think this might be a lot closer contest than the limited overs series, for the simple reason that they've got a couple of real top quality test players. Dimut Karunaratne, for example, is exactly like Dean Elgar, somebody who is very hard to be priced out. His wicket has to be earned. So at the start, before he gets set, if Bumrah and company can get him, then it certainly helps the Indian team in its looking for victory. But yes, I think they've got a couple of top players, and I think that will make a difference. There's Dikewala, who's as competitive as they come. Very fine player, a bit like our Rishabh Pant, left-hander wicketkeeper, can tonk the ball around. But like Rishabh Pant can get out at at uh, at any time. But again, capable of taking the game away. So I think this might be a whole different ball game.
Yes, when you talk about that batting lineup, they've got someone like Karunaratne, who's their captain, and he's talking about Dick Cavella is there, Angelo Matthews, the experienced Angelo Matthews. You've also got.
Yes.
Yeah, you've also got someone like Asalanka, who's done very well in white ball cricket for Sri Lanka, is also part of that test team. So yeah, there's some decent batting there when you take a look at the Sri Lankan team. Now, just coming to the Indian team, and that's the most amount of questions that I can see in our chat box, Sahibai, is with regards to the Indian team. So again, Rohit Sharma on the eve of the game was asked a lot of questions. He kept his cards very close to his chest, but I'll try and quiz you on that. And what do you think would be the right combination? Let's start with the openers. What do you reckon? You've got three players there. Rohit Sharma, of course, the first name on the list, the captain, the opener. Who is your batsman who's going to accompany Rohit there? You've got an option of staying with Mayank Agarwal, and now that Shubman is back, he's the other option.
Well, when you look at Mayank Agarwal's home record, I mean that's a tremendous home record. He scores centuries pretty much every series, and big centuries. So when you look at that and look at the fact that you're playing at home, he would be the first pick because he definitely is, as far as home conditions is concerned. Yeah, home conditions. He's definitely a dada as far as home conditions are concerned, and so my feeling is that he would probably get the nod ahead of Shubman Gill. Also, for the simple reason that Shubman Gill hasn't played any international cricket for a while because of an injury. He hasn't played any one-day cricket. He hasn't been so. It could be that might actually not work in Shubman Gill's favor. So my feeling is that Mayank will get the nod ahead of Shubman Gill.
Okay, that takes me to my next question. Does Shubman feature in your 11 or not? Or do you think you're most likely going to have Shreyas and Hanuma Vihari for those two spots vacated by Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane?
You're right. I'd like to see uh, Vihari and Shreyas Iyer in those two spots uh, because Vihari has done nothing wrong while he was in South Africa. So why should he be left out of the team? And Shreyas Iyer also, but for the fact that he was unwell in South Africa, he might have found a place in one of the test matches, if not the second. He might have found in the third test, and his debut was terrific. Also, look at his current white ball form. So when somebody is in that kind of flow, that kind of rhythm, you want to give him as many opportunities as possible. So those two would be replacing Pujara and Rahane in my book.
Okay, Rakesh Sarabudala has sent a comment, not a question, says Vihari deserves a spot in the playing 11. And that's right, Rakesh. Saimbai also mentioned that he would want to have Vihari. Got that one opportunity in South Africa to play. Virat Kohli wasn't available and did an admirable job, had to bat with the tail. So that wasn't an easy task and did very well there, Hanuma Vihari. But Saimbai, so now I've got your batting order in place. You've got Shubman not making the 11 at the moment. It's the opener is Mayank Agarwal. Then you've got Vihari as well as Shreyas. Just to know the batting order, you'd like to see Vihari at 3 and Shreyas at 5 or vice versa?
Depending on the situation. In case a wicket falls early, I'd like to see Vihari go in. But in case the openers give you a wonderful start, then to continue with the rhythm, then you want the informed Shreyas Iyer to go at 3. So I'd be pretty flexible about that.
Okay, so we've got a question here from Mohan V, and he wants to know: do you think that five bowler strategy that we saw very often with Virat Kohli would continue under Rohit Sharma too, or should continue under Rohit Sharma too?
It will continue to the best of my knowledge because with these five batsmen and Rishabh Pant at 6 and then Jadeja and Ashwin at 7 and 8, you have a very a long batting lineup. And then you have 9, 10, 11. So who are going to be your bowlers? Don't see any change in the strategy. Five bowlers gives you that many more options. Yes, sometimes in a five-man attack, one bowler sometimes gets a little underbowled, but it is better to have somebody who can bat. And with Jadeja and Ashwin, both can bat. That's the biggest plus. So would go with five bowlers. Yes.
Shantanu Mishra has a question. He says, Sunny sir, what's your view on Pant batting at number 5 in test matches? After four right-handers, he can come in and get more time and bat freely while showing his attacking gameplay. Then Vihari can come in at 6, and he's also a big fan, he says.
Well, I mean, that's an option again. I'm pretty certain that, after that, it's going to be pretty flexible depending on the situation, seeing the team situation. If the team's got 300 or something for 2 wickets, then you could have Rishabh Pant coming into bat to get a few quick runs so that, there is more time to declare and then give your bowlers more time to get the opposition out twice. So these are things that will develop. But the best part about Rishabh Pant is his flexibility is such he can go anywhere. He can go at 4, he can go at 6. So that is the biggest plus that you have with somebody like Rishabh Pant. Uh, you can slot him in at 5 as well, up the order just a little bit. But yes, I think it'll be pretty flexible.
Okay, Austin Kuna has a question for you and also a request. So he says, Sunny sir, please take my name. You are my dad's idol. Like how I idolize Virat Kohli. That's how my dad used to idolize you. So please take my name while you're answering the question. His name is Austin Kuna. His question is, which current young player do you think can play 100 tests for India between Pant, Gill, Shaw, Iyer? He's just given a few youngsters' names.
Austin Kunap, I think the Rishabh Pant looks like the one who will go on to play 100 test matches. He's got age on his side, he's got ability on his side, and if there are no serious injuries, because he's a wicket keeper, sometimes there can be injuries which can put you away out of action for maybe some time, where you miss a few tests, and then towards the end it can mean that you've played maybe 85, 90 test matches. But if there are no injuries, Rishabh Pant is the man who I think will go on to play 100 test matches for India.
Okay. Saime, also in terms of bowling, you've said that five bowlers would be the right way to go. Am I correct in assuming then your two spinners, because you mentioned Ravindra Jadeja and Ravichandran Ashwin, those are your two spinners, or would you want to go three spinners, two fast bowlers, or three fast bowlers, two spinners? In case you go with three fast bowlers, who are the guys who get your nod?
I'd like to go with the usual three fast bowlers and two seam bowlers, because the pitch at Mohali generally has a little more carry than anywhere else. So go in with three quicks, and the three quicks could be Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah, and maybe Umesh Yadav. These would be the three that you would go with, because Umesh also has done pretty well with the oldish ball, getting the ball to cut back in. He gets a lot more reverse than say a Bumrah does. So yes, I think you look at Umesh Yadav as the number three bowler.
Right, Saime, because you mentioned that it might be flexible. You had said Hanuma Vihari at three and Shreyas at five. Do you think that that would also be, and Mohan V has that question, that would be a continuation of the kind of approach that we saw, that India has tended to go with a more stable number three, like someone like a Cheteshwar Pujara who blunts the bowling attack, not great strike rate, but who really takes his time and tries to get set, blunts that fast bowling attack, and then you get an attacking batsman in Shreyas at coming at five. How about what Mohan V is suggesting? How about we change that approach and have a more attacking batsman come in at three, and in which case you could go with Shreyas there and then have Hanuma there. Do you think this will also be in the mind, or is this under consideration? You look at the approach while deciding who's at three and five.
I think it's definitely it'll be certainly something that will have been given a lot of thought to. They might have even asked Kohli whether he would bat at three, because Kohli bats at three, then a lot of problems are solved.
Hmm.
A lot of problems are solved for the simple reason he can take the attack to the opposition straight away. He can, in case the wicket has fallen early, he's got the capability of steadying the ship and then opening out. So, like Ricky Ponting did at number three for Australia, if Kohli bats at three, that would be probably the best solution. Then you can have say Shreyas Iyer at four and Hanuma Vihari at five. But again, it all depends. So, like I said yesterday, that it's a matter of comfort level. Kohli has batted at number four for such a long time now. It probably wouldn't be fair to ask him in this particular test match, his 100 test match, to bat at number three. The best option is for him to bat at four. But in case they can persuade him as we go on, that maybe he should look at batting at three, that'll be a biggest solution that we can have.
Okay, Shantanu Mishra has a question. He says, "Sir, Bumrah hasn't played much in India when it comes to Test cricket. So, how do you see his impact, considering there'll be help for pacers initially? Also, it's a bit nippy, I believe, early in the morning. Also, your views as he's now in a leadership role."
He's a terrific bowler. Jasprit Bumrah is. It doesn't matter whether he's played enough matches in India or not. He was just getting into his rhythm. I would have actually liked him to have even played the third one day, because you have more overs under your belt. Third T20 against Sri Lanka. The more overs you have under your belt, getting into a Test series, the better it is for you. But obviously, everybody else had to be given an opportunity once the T20 series was won, so he was not picked for the final game. But I think he's just the kind of bowler who will give you the breakthroughs anytime. Anytime you give him a ball, he will pick you wickets because he's got that capability. It'll take something special for the Sri Lankans to thwart him.
Okay, Saurabh Rao has a question. He says, Sunny with respect to the middle order, can we see Sky, Surya Kumar Yadav anytime soon in the Indian Test squad?
Why not? If his form is good, then it would have been fantastic. Sadly, he was injured in Kolkata. Otherwise, he might have played the last of the Mumbai Ranji Trophy games, and of course if Mumbai does qualify, then and if he was not in the Test team, Test 16, then he could have possibly shown that he's fit to play the longer format as well.
I'll take a couple more questions before I let you go, Sai bhai. Abhishek Ramakrishnan has a question. He says, "Sir, what would be your suggestion to Virat to help him come back to his prime? Is it more of a mental issue or a technical issue you reckon with him?"
It's just a luck issue, nothing else. There's nothing wrong with his technique. There's nothing wrong with his temperament. The first mistake that he's been making in recent times is turning out to be his last mistake. And when that happens, there's not much that you can do. Uh, he got a half century in one of the T20s in Kolkata, but there you see the luck had started to change because he had been dropped, or there was an escape he had. So maybe the luck is changing. Where I'm not saying that you have to be dropped or whatever it is, but sometimes you play and miss, and when the luck is not with you, you play an edge. So that is the kind of thing. So there's nothing wrong with his temperament, nothing wrong with his technique. It's just that his luck needs to change.
Right. Rahul Vasudev has a comment. I'll just take that comment. He sent a super chat. He says, Sunny sir, I think the best batsman should come after minimum 20 to 30 overs unless he is a genuine opener. So Vihari, according to him, is the best choice to make that happen. There is a question that has, yes, I tend to miss that. So many of them coming. Uh, Fiesta wants to know, Ashwin just 5 wickets away from becoming India's second highest wicket taker. Your thoughts on that?
He's been a phenomenal performer, isn't it? So no surprise that uh, he will be going past the one and only Kapil Dev. He's just 5 wickets behind Kapil, and he's been whenever there are matches in India, he invariably is the man of the series with the amount of wickets that he picks, and then of course the runs that he scores as well. So won't be a surprise if that happens in this series as well.
Okay. I just missed your name, but it was with regards to Ravindra Jadeja. So pardon me, but I saw that question is just gone up. So anyway, his question was with regards to the central contracts that have been announced. And like last time, you've got the three big guns in Jasprit Bumrah, Rohit Sharma, and Virat Kohli in the A plus. His question was that Ravindra Jadeja, considering he's a regular now in all three formats, has got that seniority as well. Would you also have liked to have seen someone like him be in that A plus category alongside those three big names that I spoke about?
Uh, with the kind of performance that he has had over the last couple of seasons, yes, but maybe because he wasn't there for all the matches, he wasn't available with his injury, wasn't available for South Africa. Maybe that's the reason that he hasn't been put in that. But I guess only the selection committee can tell you that. I thought that these things are done at the start of the season. These
Yes.
but so we are coming to the end of the season. We're in the month of March. The Indian season finishes with the IPL, and before the IPL, whatever international season is. So I'm a little surprised that it has come at this stage of the year. I thought that generally the selection committee announces it in August, September, so as to have the players available. And I think that's the important part. The players should be available. In case the players are not available for whatever reason, then I think there should be like a cut in that thing, because they are in any case getting paid along. They're getting paid for the matches anyway. So whatever
Yeah.
is your slab, you play every match, you still get paid. So if you're not available to play for India for whatever reason, then whatever that category, whatever your thing is, pro rata maybe you should be able to cut, and because that's the one way that you will make sure that players will be available, and not say that, oh, I want too much of workload and all that, and take off. So I think that to avoid that, maybe that might be the way to go forward.
Final questions, Aivai. And because two, three people, MKD has asked that, Rakesh Sarabudla has asked that. Everyone wants your thoughts on the Pakistan Australia series. They've asked us also to do a preview. We'll try and do that. But meanwhile, they wanted to know just in terms of how that series do you see being set up to big enough teams. Also, I think you've had international cricket in Pakistan, but I guess a full-fledged top country now playing matches there. So just your thoughts on that.
It's not going to be easy for Australia. Again, it's like you know, home teams are very, very difficult to beat unless you go there quite regularly. And while Australia is now going there, what, after 1998, if I'm correct, so they're going after so many years. It's not going to be easy. There will be crowds there, 100% crowds, which will be all pro Pakistan, and understandably. And for the Australians to cope with that is not going to be easy. Plus, that their record against quality spin has not been good. Pakistan's got a very balanced attack, though its batting is a little bit uncertain. But it could be a close series, but I expect Pakistan to prevail.
Okay, Saima. Before I let you go, one gentleman, he's bombarded me with messages. I can see all he wants is Shantanu Mishra. I took his question. All he wants is he's saying, "Please take my name, Sunny sir. It'll be very emotional for me. It'll be like an Ashirwad." So Shantanu Mishra, if you could just wish him the best.
Shantanu Mishra, wishing you all the best, and I hope that you will continue with your good wishes for Indian cricket, whatever happens. Be the kind of support that every team needs, every player needs, because every team has that cycle up and down. And I think it's when the cycle is on the downwards move, people like you, well wishers like you, make a big difference with your good wishes. So keep up with the good wishes for Indian cricket. Thank you so much.
All right. Apologies for anyone. I know more questions coming in, but we've completely run out of time. He has to be on our other platform as well, and he'll be speaking. Probably you could go to Sports Tuck now, and that's where he could answer those questions. I couldn't take all of your questions. Also, he has a busy day tomorrow. So, anyway, all the best for the game tomorrow. It's a big occasion. One more person joining your club. The 12th guy in that is Virat Kohli. So, enjoy the game. Of course, we'll keep bringing him back for sharing thoughts on sports today. So, thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Nikhil. And you haven't asked me to take your name, but I'm taking your name. Thank you, Nikhil.
Thank you so much, sir. I'll also treat it as an Ashirwad. Thank you, Simon.
Yeah,
Okay, all the best.
yeah.